runners in history from this tiny, tiny area. It's just phenomenal. It kind of reminds me when Rudy Chappa, Kerry Pinkowski, and Mike Keogh, and from Gary, Indiana, but still remarkable that, you know, these small communities with these great coaches can pull it off. The other thing that I think is interesting is just the Northwest and how strong it is. I mean, you look at the 3,000 meters and the 3,200 dominated by Pacific Northwest athletes. 3,200 meters, Owen Powell's 8:39.86 leads the country, but Tostenson and Kitchen are 2 and 3. Thomas Latham from Marist, Georgia's 4. But, I mean, it's really phenomenal how good. You look at Idaho, Zachary Servey-Skinner, who's competing. Maximus Servey-Skinner, Cohen Butler. I mean, all these guys are dominating the list this year in high school.
And this is kind of a generation that many of them are excellent cross-country runners. I mean, I remember seeing the Servey-Skinners when they were 9 and 10 years old in Junior Olympics. And they were already, you know, that gutsy, I run cross-country and I take that onto the track. And that's kind of becoming this history of the Idaho kids. We've had Wyoming cross-country turned middle distance runners. And that is that common toughness that we're seeing in the Northwest. And I want to mention for people that maybe don't know the whole story of Crater High School and where it is, that's Central Point, Oregon, which is basically a bedroom community of Medford, Oregon. And you might think, well, Medford, Oregon's not that big a town. Well, it's a pretty big crossroads area in southern Oregon. So, yeah, Central Point's a suburb of a small town. But it has a great athletic tradition going back to when it was the smaller school that had the chip on its shoulder facing big, bad Medford High back in the days when it was one school. And, of course, that's where Bill Bowerman came from, was Medford. So, you know, Crater didn't open back in the 40s and 50s, but there's always been this thing at Crater of, yeah, we're as good as anybody else here. And it's just become infectious in this track program. And a lot of it is why these kids are so competitive. So we're underway. We're going to watch for the pacers here. It'll be the 2 Jesuit kids. I think we're seeing them in the 2 yellow kits right now. And we're looking for 64-second laps.
We are indeed. And, Bob, one of the things I think that's going to help Kitchen today is the fact that there's an enormous crowd here at Jesuit High School. There are people everywhere. Look at this. It is unreal, the atmosphere, and that helps a runner. That helps a runner when you can have every step of the way people cheering you on and rooting you on, and what a tremendous facility they have here. But the mere fact that it's a very still afternoon day is really going to be helpful because the wind is the biggest demon you have when you're trying to run here.
And wind is just barely there. All right, 64 got us started. By the way, extra Crater runner running up front, not originally on the entry list. That's Nathan Good, one of the teammates. So he's going to work along with the 2 Jesuit kids, Liam Donnelly and Jackson Welsh.
And Good just dropped. So now it's Donnelly and Welch, maybe a little bit slower than they wanted to go here through the first 400 meters of this. Now, when you look at the national record, I'm not even going to go into the national record stuff, Bob, because there's so many different permutations of the national record at this distance. But let's just say that Lucas Versbekas's time from 2011 is probably intrinsically superior to anything that anybody else has ever run. And that time was 8:29.46 in 2011. So I'm going to call that kind of the national record for now.
So if Kitchen is feeling low 830s, he might get a crack. One of our pacers has dropped now after 2 laps. We go 65-64. That's Kitchen splits. And he still has, I think this is Welsh.
Yeah, and amongst the guys that are kind of running this race. Saffer Corsello, another guy that had a great cross-country season. He's in, the nominal second place, and Mason Moricall in third.
Tayvon Kitchen coming down the home stretch here.
And Kitchen actually on the shoulder here. He seems like he's trying to get them to even push it a little bit more. I'd love to see him hit about 312 here, which is what he's going to do. Or a little bit over 312, about 313.
Wait for the official split. We'll get it in a second. So he goes 65, 64, 63.
313. That's good. That's good. He's picking it up. And he looks good. He looks, look at the bounce he has. He's keeping his head straight. He's very much focused on the pacer that's in front of him who just stepped off. Now this is where it really gets tough, because for the next 4.5 minutes or so, he's got to do it himself. And this is where the crowd can be a big factor and can help push him on.
Tayvon Kitchen is all on his own.
Well, all eyes on number one right now. But yeah, he does look strong, Tom, and in control of what he's doing with his body.
I wish that Tostenson had gone into this race with him. And, of course, Andy Powell had a little niggle this week, apparently, so he was not able to compete. About 4:17, Bob, at 1,600 meters.
So that's another
So
64. So this is what he wanted.
Yep, 4:16.83 official, so 65, 64, 63, 63, and he's gotten faster every lap, Bob. Every lap he's gotten just a hair faster.
He already has a 9-second margin. You mentioned Corsell, he's second. Isaac Benjamin from South Kitsap, very legit at this distance, third. Another good Washington, couple of good Washington kids. Cooper Boyle from Tahoma, Cohen Butler from Camas. Of course, 3,200 is a Washington distance at the state championships.
And Bob, I think no matter what, he's going to get a national outdoor leader here. He's for sure, it would appear that he will run faster than Owen Powell's 8:39. Going to be about 5:20 there at 3,600. So he's going to be another 63.4. Yep.
Yeah.
So he improved every single lap.
Wow. Now this is where he wanted to be. Looks comfortable, and then no traffic around him. Again, it'll be interesting to see if the sea parts for him when he does catch up with the back of the field.
Yeah, and what I like is the good rhythm that he's got going, the good bounce that he's got off each stride. You know, there's very good turnover here. He doesn't appear at all to be overcooked. But this penultimate lap that's going to come up is going to be the one that tells the story of this race.
Tayvon Kitchen, let's cheer him on.
But look at him, Bob. He looks full of run still.
You see his pacers cheering him on now.
About
6:25.
6:24. Yeah, so 64.70, slowed a little bit. So now this is the lap, Bob. This is the lap we need to see what he's going to do here. If he can turn in another 64 or even 63, he'll be at 7:29 with a lap to go, and then he should be able to kick it in 63 or 64 at the very worst, one would think.
The meet record is 8:55. He's certainly going to shatter that.
And I think he has a shot to move into number 2 or number 3 all time, just taking the outdoor marks into consideration with this performance.
Remember, that national record is 8:33. The national leading time 8:39. Let's help him out. Help him out.
There he comes to the bell. Tayvon Kitchen, senior from Crater. Determination, 7:29. That's another 64. Now that's right where you wanted him to be, Tom.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now the question's going to be, what can he kick it in with? I mean, he still looks so full of run.
I know.
Lord knows what he would have done if he had Tostenson and Owen Powell in this race. But he's doing a great job just by himself.
I mean, that whole back stretch.
8:02. Yeah, 8:02, Bob, with about 200 to go. So he's going to finish maybe 8:33, 8:32, which intrinsically would be the second best 3,200 in history. Or 2 mile.
Here he comes. Crowd on its feet. History in the making at the Jesuit Twilight. 8:33.76. We'll check the roundup. Meet record by 22 seconds. And one of the fastest 3,200s ever. Eight 8:32. And that's the U.S. leader by 6 seconds. So now maybe Owen Powell will wish he showed up tonight.
That was, put everything else aside, that's an amazing solo effort. However you want to crunch the numbers, that effort was probably, as a solo effort, one of the greatest middle or long distance runs we've ever seen by a high school athlete. Because he had to do it solo, Bob. And
yes.
The pace setters were not in that for very long. I mean, it was just an incredible, incredible performance. Obviously destroyed his PR by 10 seconds. So the young man that had the fastest time ever over 3,000 meters now has one of the fastest times in history over 3,200 meters / 2 miles. And this young man is going to go down in the record books. And I thought Gorzy was really good. I thought Tostenson was really good. This kid is beyond all that.